us right now is Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi. And let me start off, first of all, welcoming you to our little area here. But you are of Indian descent.
Yeah.
Seeing Kamala Harris up there talking, speaking, and being the first elected partly Indian, partly African-American woman for presidential nominee, how does that make you feel?
Oh, my gosh. It fills your heart with pride. I mean, it's a moment of incredible joy and enthusiasm for the community. I like to say she's going to bring curry powder to the White House in a big way, and that's going to translate into curry power. And so it's going to be a great moment when she gets inaugurated.
Her mother is from the same area that your family is, right?
Exact same area. I mean, it's really remarkable. And there are a lot of connections, and she and I have talked about that, too.
She did that video with Tim Walz where he said black pepper is about as spicy as he gets.
It was such a good video. The interplay, I think, you know, not to digress, but that's the stuff that I think people really relate to. I was watching and I couldn't stop laughing when I saw his exchange and then the chemistry between the two of them.
They do seem to be having a good time out on the campaign trail and getting to know each other. Serious question, though, you know, about the racial identity, because Donald Trump earlier this month at NABJ questioned Kamala Harris and how she identifies. Says that she basically became black. As far as we know, she went to an HBCU and she has always identified as black. How do you campaign with the other side wanting to make race an issue?
I think she handled it just right. I think a lot of others kind of talked about it maybe more directly. And she, interestingly, I think that he likes to bring race to the forefront. And she doesn't talk about it as much, even though it's obvious to all of us who she is and what her heritage is. But to me, that comment by him flies in the face of the fact that I think almost 40 million Americans identify themselves as multiracial in some way. And so for him to become like the identity decider-in-chief for everybody and say, I will redefine who you are regardless of how you define yourself is revolting. And I think that's why he's unfit to be president.
Do you think that his racial thoughts and feelings will make a difference in this race?
Yeah, I think it will hurt him. I think that it will hurt him for two reasons. One, I think that a lot of people find it, even, let's say in the independent group of people, independent voters, I think a lot of them find it off-putting. And then secondly, it's not what they want to hear a presidential candidate talking about. They want someone talking about, like, you know, how do I educate my kid? How do I afford, you know, high-quality health care? How do I get a job, a good-paying job for the 21st century? That's the stuff that they want to hear about. So when he's talking about, like, you know, whether she's black or Indian or, you know, whether he believes that she's not intelligent enough to do a press conference, all that stuff is just revolting, and it's not what people want to talk about on the campaign trail.
We've got about 30 seconds left. Such a focus on abortion tonight, but Tim Walz takes the podium. How do you reach out to men? Because obviously polls show there's a gender gap there.
I tend to think that she will be increasingly somebody that wins the male vote. However, I do think that there's this issue of, I think, two things. One, I think especially white men in this country have undergone a situation where, you know, they're losing jobs. They are in the heartland in a lot of places that are fentanyl, you know, where the fentanyl scourge is very high. She has to be talking about, okay, how do we deal with those tremendous changes that are happening in the heartland in a way that lifts you up, okay, regardless of who you are. But that's something that speaks especially to white males in those areas who are kind of losing their livelihoods. And so I think the more she talks about that and the more they hear him talking about other random things, I think we'll get their votes.
76 or so more days to go.
76, 152 if you don't sleep.
Oh. Okay.
Well, no sleep this week, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you so much.